I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Computer analyst Angela Bennett just stumbled onto something she never should have seen.
Oh my God.
It's fine with a go.
The net is an edge-of-your-seat nail-biter.
Our whole lives are on the computer and they knew.
That explodes with suspense.
Just give us the disc and we'll give you your life back.
Sandra Bullock is sensational.
Think of the power that they have.
The net is one terrific ride.
I don't understand. Why me?
Sandra Bullock.
They've done it to me. They're going to do it to you.
In The Net, rated PG-13.
Hi, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another review. This is another Patreon request. Thanks goes out to John, aka The Zero Cool. Great guy here. Wonderful friend on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel, does wonderful stuff. Check out his channel. And he made a pledge to my Patreon. I thank him for that. I thank everyone who has done that. It's been very kind of you guys to do that. If anyone's ever interested, my Patreon info will be down below, or PayPal. Again, I know people get mad about that, but oh well. Again, something to try out. And even if not, I appreciate people watching. I appreciate people commenting. And people who have been saying very kind words in the past couple videos. I really do appreciate that. I really do. But the movie we're talking about today is The Net. Now, The Net is a 1995 techno cyber thriller starring Sandra Bullock, who is one of my favorite actresses from the film Speed, Demolition Man, Gravity. Big Sandra Bullock fan. And this is one of the first times she got to star solo in a movie. Because before this, she was helping Keanu Reeves in Speed, or Sylvester Stallone Demolition Man. And this film was a decent sized hit. It was a surprise hit. Didn't do blockbuster numbers, but it made a good profit enough that they had a short-lived TV series, and then years later they had a direct-to-video sequel which no one watched nor cared about. Sandra Bullock's character, she is a person who is a pretty much not really tech support, but knows a lot about computers. She's isolated in her home. She doesn't go out. Her mom has Alzheimer's. She doesn't really have a lot of friends in the outside world. She kind of just lives by herself in her house, sticking to the computer. I mean, one of the first things we see her doing is debugging the video game Wolfenstein, which I thought was cool to have a nod to Wolfenstein in order to find viruses and such. Then she doesn't go out. She even, when she sits down to eat, her computer, she has like an animated fireplace. And back in the day, the internet was very different than how it is today. And that was cool. To me, the net is a fun archive of old school internet. How computers themselves looked, how cyber chat looked, the old school cyber chat, and how even when someone had the chat box, there'd be voices with it. Robotic type voices, but voices with it. The graphics, it just brought me back to that time when now a computer, you do pretty much everything and anything. But back then it was this new landscape and people wondered what could be done with this technology. The sky was the limit, but it was still a new frontier. That's what I'm trying to get at. And the long story short, the plot, she is sent this disc. She's supposed to debug this game called Mozart's Ghost. More like a music thing than a game. And even then, that old school 90s where the character and the it's not a game, I don't know what you call it, the Mozart's Ghost. He sounds like a surfer dude. Mozart's Ghost, dude. And this is back to the day where you had a floppy disk or a type of disk. Now it'd be a USB, but again, it's kind of fun to see these old style stuff, especially older people that lived through that time. Her friend gets killed in a plane crash and then realizes that some big baddies want this disc. It just has something on it. And they fuck up her life. They delete her entire identity. They change it to this person named Ruth Marks, who has a criminal record. And I know one of the things a lot of people harp on when they talk about the net in today's age is they make fun of it because they go, it's unrealistic. How they talk about the internet is unrealistic. I'm like, first off, the internet was a new thing in 95. And watch it again, I didn't see anything that insane, especially what might have been done in 1995. I can buy and see stuff that they have done in plenty of movies afterward. Someone tracking her by her cell phone, changing someone's identity, putting someone's face on a different identity, giving someone a criminal record when they don't have one, all the hacking mechanics. I just see a lot of that happening today. People's identities do disappear, especially if you're a good enough hacker. You can change someone's complete identity. That's what they do with the witness protection program, for crying out loud. Give them a new identity, new records, everything. That's what many like Mission Impossible and other movies deal with. But yet the net gets all this crap for it being unrealistic. I don't understand it. Someone please feel free to explain. I would gladly read and listen. Feel free to explain. I'm not a big computer tech guy. I don't know all the ins and outs. But even way before that, you had War Games, Matthew Broderick being a hacker, changing his grades. And even Ferris Bueller's Day Off, he changed his grades a little bit with a computer. Here is the next step. And again, I'm watching, I'm going, it's neat to see a film in the early stage of the internet deal with this kind of subject material. It's fun seeing the old school way of computers, nostalgia lane. And it's pumped up by a really wonderful performance by Sandra Bullock. You buy her fear, but she's not a damsel in distress. People always talk about we need strong females, but I see a film like The Net. We do have a strong female. She acts like a human being. She's an actual character, not a one-dimensional thing or some prop to put in PC politics. No, she's a character. We built up in the beginning how she's isolated herself to the world. That's why she's trying to get people to believe her. No one does because no one knows her. Because of the development we've had at the beginning, that she's isolated herself from pretty much civilization. And Sandra Bullock, you buy her paranoia, you buy her strength. I think Sandra Bullock does a wonderful job in the lead role. Other actors, you have Jeremy Northam, who I remember from the movie Mimic. He's here as our villain. Dennis Miller as pretty much the only person that knows him. He knows her personally, and I like Dennis Miller. Granted, I don't know about him in real life, at least based on stories of movies like Tales from the Crypt, Bordello Blood, which he didn't seem like the nicest guy. But as a screen presence, I liked him in Murder at 1600 with Wesley Snipes. I even liked him in Bordello Blood. He was the only thing I liked in that movie. And he does a good job here. I wish he was in the film more. And with what happens to his character, I wish things were changed just so that he could be in the film more, because he brought fun, humor, but not too over the top, not to the point that it changed the whole tone of the story. But yeah, I like Dennis Miller. I wish he was in the film more. That's really one of my few nitpicks. It's a little bit of a lengthy running time. It's almost clocking at 2 hours. I didn't feel it that much. It's not like I was bored or anything. But I'm just thinking, well, there's maybe 5 or so minutes you could just edit out. Just a teeny bit. It's directed by Irwin Winkler. I think when I first saw this way back in the day, I thought it was the guy that directed Empire Strikes Back and RoboCop 2. And I'm like, no, that's Irvin Kershner. This is Irwin Winkler. But I'm like, I recognize that name. That's because Irwin Winkler, he is the man who produced the Rocky films. So consider how many times I rewatched the Rocky films over and over again. At the beginning, you would see an Irwin Winkler production, or you would see the trailers and they would flash Irwin Winkler's name. I'm like, oh, that's why I recognize that name. This is one of the few times he directed. I think he also did the Val Kilmer film At First Sight, where he played the blind guy. He might have done this animated film called Home on the Range, but I'm not positive. It might be another Home on the Range I'm thinking of. But he didn't do a ton of movies directing wise. He was more a producer. But yeah, I mean, I like the idea of what if one day, because of the way computers are, the internet, your life is vanished. You come back, your home's empty. In a way, a spiritual sequel to this is Enemy of the State. In a way. Because that also dealt with an individual who also gets a disc, which the bad guys want, like Sandra Bullock does in this movie. And then they're, because they give him a rest, they give him all sorts of shit. That's what I'm getting at. And he's on the run and so forth. I would say I like Enemy of the State more than this, but that's more of an action film, and you got Gene Hackman. That'd be cool if Dennis Miller in this film was like Gene Hackman in that film, which follows through to the end of the movie. I think that would have been cool. Right, Enemy of the State was... trying to remember what year Enemy of the State came out. I think he was... I know it was after Men in Black. Was it between Men in Black and Wild Wild West? Or was it after Wild Wild West? I can't remember. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But I just thought that, yeah, Enemy of the State is sort of a spiritual sequel to this, in a weird way. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot of problems with it. Granted, I'm not a guy that is the most knowledgeable when it comes to computers and how things work. So if everything in the movie add up, it goes over my head. I just take it for what it is. For what I see, it seems I can buy a mentality like a lot of films would do later on with that type of plot synopsis. I thought Sandra Bullock, job acting wise, she gave a very solid performance. Like I said, I like Dennis Miller. Competent direction by Irwin Winkler. This is not an action movie. If you expect a lot of big stunt sequences, set pieces of that nature, you're not going to get it. It is more of a thriller. I don't know if I say I felt a lot of suspense, but I mean, because I've seen the film, and I can't remember my initial thoughts way back when I saw this on VHS back in the day. But I like that Sandra Bullock, she doesn't take any shit. For example, there's a scene where she realizes this guy driving is full of it, full of shit flag. No, full of shit. And she's like, you know what? Of course, you guys, man. You know, I'm just so tired of it. I just fucks with the guy, unlocks his seatbelt, crashes, the guy flies off. That's just an example of the strength of this character. Again, this whole political thing nowadays where, well, it's always been a damsel in distress. The women has never been strong. We had this film called The Net, which a lot of critics took a dump on for some reason. But I guess we're going to just ignore shit that actually happened and ignore history. But hey, what do I know? With that said, I just repeat myself. Thanks once again to John, the Zero Cool, for the request. Thank you for joining my Patreon, man. Really kind of you to do so. Keep up the great work on your channel, man. And he did not tell me to say that. I really do mean that. Not only a friend, but a fan of his. Thanks for watching. Take care. Stay tuned for more reviews and videos. And if you've never seen The Net, or it interests you, or you watch the trailer or a TV spot, idea is worth a look. Especially either A, you're a fan of Sandra Bullock, or B, you're a fan of those 90s thrillers or throwback cyber thriller. So you see so old school fun computer. It's a nice time capsule. That's the phrase I'm looking for. It's a nice time capsule for the 90s. And I love the 90s. A lot of people hate the 90s. I've never had a problem with the 90s decade. I don't really understand the hate for it. It's a lot better than recent decades. But that's just me. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.